This is 1 o'clock on Sunday and we're at the Minshull lock on the Middlewich arm of the Shropshire Union, and there's a queue. The locks along here are quite deep, as you can see with that one there. I've been here for a little while, so 2 boats have gone through. There's one in front of me waiting to go through, and then I can go through. That boat's just moored, but there are 2 more boats behind me, and it's like summer. Partly because there are lots of people diverted onto this route, because the alternative route south, the Trent and Mersey, closed yesterday because of lack of water. So there's probably more boats on here than there would normally be. But yes, the people in front are heading towards the famous Pontesilta aqueduct on the Llangollen Canal. They're finding this all a bit stressful, to be honest, because they only picked up the boat yesterday. It's their first time out. Well, I'm in the lock and there's 4 boats still behind waiting, and another one I think just appearing under the bridge in the distance. But with so many people around, I'm getting some help, so that's great. And there's another boat waiting to come down, so it's really busy here today. And there's another lock to go before I reach the main canal, and that might be just as busy. Here's a nice spot. This is Sykes Hollow leisure area, and good moorings, lots of picnic tables, stands for barbecues, people just spending a weekend here by the look of it. There was a chap with all his paint pots out, but it's raining, so that's the end of that. Just emptying the lock at the Venetian Marina site. This is another single deep lock. I'll look up in a minute exactly how deep it is. Somebody asked me and I don't know. It's about 11 or 12 feet. They are deep along here. The queue seems to have died down now, because I'm down there and there's nobody behind me waiting to come in. So I'm going to have to do this all by myself. Never mind. In that building just in front there's the Venetian Marina Cafe, which is open. There's people sitting there having their lunch, looking out of the window. It looks very tempting, but must move on. We're in the lock and she's coming up quite nicely. I saw the footbridge, the road bridge there, and I thought, oh, that's handy. I can walk up and walk the boat into the lock. And then as I was coming up the steps, I realised there's a little footbridge as well. So I had to resort to the old trick. Oh. I stopped that last clip because the boat suddenly started to move forward. That caught me by surprise, because I expected it to do it earlier if it was going to do it at all. But anyway, the lock's just about full now, so we'll be soon out of here, and that'll be the last lock for a while. And there's a boat that looks like it's coming down. Yes, there's somebody carrying a windlass. It's always a good sign. It means that I can just jump on the boat and leave the gate open. Right, on we go. Well, after a short stop for water and to get rid of rubbish, and for me to have a very late lunch, we are now passing through Nantwich, and as you can see, we're passing over the road here because the canal is on a very high embankment, and we look down on the town as we go by. That's quite a feature of the the canal I'm on. Hang on, it'll come to me in a minute. Shropshire Union. Yes, it often goes into cuttings and then high up on embankments, so that we are now looking straight across. So I don't know if there's ever been a breach along here, but let's hope not, because water would go everywhere around the town. So I'm just going to cruise on for another hour or so tonight, I think, until we get close to sunset, which is getting earlier and earlier now, of course, just because the weather's nice. just over here has got to be my favourite sign on the entire network. I think it speaks for itself. Actually, Hack Green was an RAF station during the Second World War. It was actually a radar station for the defence of Liverpool. And after apparently the crews used to live in Nantwich, and some of them would travel to work by boat. But then it became a Cold War warning station, and after that the government spent a great deal of money turning it into an underground nuclear-proofed bunker for the regional government to operate from in the case of nuclear war. Apparently, after having got it all up and running, it was only fully active for about 9 years, and the situation changed and everybody relaxed. Still, at least we're left with that sign. It's Monday morning. Well, no, it's not. It's Monday afternoon. It took me a while to do some admin things I had on the boat, so we've just set off, and I'm just filming myself for a bit to say we're into proper autumn weather now. In fact, this is my second attempt to film this, because the first time there was a sudden shower of rain and I had to get the camera under cover. But I've put away the Panama hat, and I've put away my linen cap, and I'm back to the tweed hat because it just looks right in this weather, and it's a lot warmer than the other hats. So this is it now for until the spring, I'm guessing, even though the sun's trying to break through at the moment, but it's not going to be that warm. So we're on our way to Audlam at the moment, a couple of miles away, and then I've got some serious locks to do. This is nice scenery along here. I'll see if I can pan round slowly. I've just seen the classic autumn scene, which I failed to get a picture of a plough rolling across a field followed by a huge flock of gulls picking off whatever was turned up. I've even seen geese and swans picking around in the fields as well. They like to graze the fields. And some cows. The canal's pretty straight along here, and if you've got the time to stop, there's some very pleasant mooring along here too, and several boats have taken advantage of this. Just coming into Audlam now, and just under that bridge is the first lock of the day. I've just this minute passed a boat coming out, but I'm not sure if there was a boat that has gone just ahead of me. And there's a boat I've seen several times in the last few days. Strider, he was going my way, so they've obviously had their trip, their holiday, and they're now heading back. Yes, and I can see there is a boat in that lock. Oh well. So it isn't going to be in my favour after all. Never mind. Yeah, this is lock 15, and I'm just emptying it out. These are all single width locks along here, so it doesn't take long. And the mechanisms all work, not like the Rochdale Canal, and they're all well maintained. The boat's just gone out ahead of me, unfortunately, so I'll be following him up. But I've just noticed here, see, there's a pile of boards, planks, with handles on. They're called stop boards, and the reason they're there is in case of emergencies, you can, if there's a breach in the canal, you can seal it off, because there's a slot in the wall there, and there's a matching slot here. And so you bring those boards over, drop them down in there, one on top of the other, until you've blocked it off, and then throw a canvas over, or I've even seen them shoveling ash in to seal it, and that closes off the canal. So if you have a breach somewhere, you don't drain the entire canal. Right, I think we're ready to get the boat in now. Oh, the second lock done. Just gonna go on to tick over because we're passing these moored boats here. These are permanent moorings and temporary ones on the left. And there's a boat in front of me doing something on the lock. I hope he's coming down. There was a slight misunderstanding there. I didn't realise there was a boat coming down until I was already on my way between the locks. So the holiday makers who were at the lock also hadn't spotted him, so they started emptying the lock ready to bring their boat in. And of course that's a breach of etiquette, because if the lock is full and there's a boat coming down, then the lock belongs to the boat, that boat. But I didn't see them, so I see the boat coming down, so these things happen. So it's going to be a busy time now. This is lock number 3 and there's a boat just going in, so I'm going to have to pull in and wait for them to pass through. So let's see. I was ready to go into this lock as the other boat was leaving. It was a bit tricky because the lock landing doubles as a water point and somebody is getting water. So I had to leap onto this wall. I can't get right into the side because of the famous Shropshire shelf, which is a deliberate ledge put in the canal when it was built, in places where they never expected people to moor when it was a working canal, because it improves the performance. I forget why. There was a reason for it, but anyway, just as I was starting to prepare the lock with the nose of the boat tucked right into the gate, I saw a boat coming down. So as per the etiquette, it's their lock, so I'm going to hover out of the way until they come through. But then the boat in front has stopped for water, so they've very kindly offered to work the lock for me while they're waiting. So as always, it's the kindness of strangers that gets you through on the canals. With some assistance I got through that lock, and this is the wharf and the famous Shroppy Fly pub, which I'm told is now closed. And it does look closed, but still got the big winch there and the water point and services. The Shroppy, of course, is the short version of the Shropshire Union Canal, and the fly has nothing to do with insects, flying or otherwise. It's a kind of boat service, because when the canal companies were feeling the competition from trains, they started offering a fast delivery service with boats with double crews, and they would travel non-stop, so 24 hours a day, and they were known as flyboats. So that commemorates that. And there's the old Audlam Mill, which is now, it says Canal Shop and Workshop. I've never really explored this place properly. I've always, like today, just been passing through. So now I need to pull in just in front of me here, because the people who very kindly helped me through, I did let them go in front, as they were in front of me in the first place. So I'll be following them up the next flight of locks, which is the rest of the Audlam flight. They're now going to be very close together from now on. Right, approaching the next lock underneath the bridge. I've just prepared it, and I'm going to stop filming just before we get in, because I'm going to jump off and walk up the side with the rope, because that's, I find, the easiest way to manage the boat on these locks. So here we go. Well, nearly at the top of the Audlam flight. This is lock 3, so I've got 2 more to go after this. There's a boat following up behind me, and we've passed a succession of boats coming down, which has eased the path slightly. But we've had the odd shower of rain, and you can see the rain in the air over there, and it's just beginning to blow over here. So very nice and rural. And somewhere just around the bend there, I think, is the next 2 locks, and then there's another group of 5, I think, and then it's a straight run into the town of Market Drayton. Well, I reached the top of the Audlam flight of 15 locks, so sometime after 5 o'clock, I'm not sure exactly when, and we're just passing by some lovely meadowland here. At the top lock I met a boat with a wood-fired pizza oven on board, one of the canal traders, and right behind him there is a barista coffee boat, and they've just been to an event down in Market Drayton, which is a few miles ahead of me now. Haven't seen any market traders like that for a long time now. We don't see them on the Rochdale Canal, but on the Grand Union in particular you see all kinds of things like that. Restaurant boats, cafe boats, boats selling, well, whatever you want. So it's really nice. But it's a nice evening now, except the rain keeps blowing across, and so we all put our hoods up and the waterproofs on, and then it blows over and the sun comes out. So I'm going to push on now to the next set of locks, is the Adderley 5, and I'll see how I feel when I get there, if I'm going to take them on tonight or leave it for tomorrow morning. I'd rather get through, if I can, before sunset, which is about 7 o'clock tonight. Well, here's the first. I've come to the first of the Adderley locks, and there's a boat in the lock which is coming down, and it looks like it's under tow, because this little boat here says that it's towing. I did wonder why it was waiting on the lock landing, so I'm going to back up a little bit and let it come past. Well, they seem to be having a bit of trouble getting the boat out of the lock. There's a lot of rocking going on. They know they're going to leave the gates open for me, because we've exchanged hand signals, and I'm tied up at the moment on the side, and I don't want to untie until they've gone past, because 2 boats together probably are going to cause a bit of a pull and a push in the water. So I don't want to be just hovering. I might run into the bushes. They're stuck on the infamous shelf, the Shropshire shelf. So that's why they were rocking the boat to try and get off. I'm surprised it's there though. Normally, where you could expect a boat to stop, they didn't put a shelf when they built the canal. There, they're free though. So now they should be off. Off, yes. Giving out smoke signals as they go. It's a pretty smoky diesel anyway. Never mind with the extra stress of pulling. This picture looks a lot brighter than the reality. This camera does that. You can see my tunnel light is on. That was because we're in the last lock, but it is just after sunset and it's very cloudy. So as soon as I'm through here, I'm going to stop and find more up for the night. So this is the 20th lock of the day. I've got an appreciative audience here. They've all been watching me very carefully. They can probably do it themselves now. And the boat that's been following me all day and helping is in the lock below. They had their tunnel light on just now, but they seem to have turned it off. So let's do this last lock.